Sarah had always imagined the day she would become a mother. She was 24 years old, full of dreams, and ready to embrace the new chapter of her life. The moment finally came when her baby boy, Ian, was born. She felt a rush of joy and love she had never known before. As she held him close, tiny and fragile, she promised herself, "I will give you the best start in life." But as often happens with new mothers, joy came with uncertainty. That first night in the hospital, Ian cried endlessly. Sarah tried to feed him, but she thought nothing was coming out. Her heart raced with worry. She turned to her husband and whispered, "Maybe I don't have enough milk. Maybe he's hungry and I can't give him what he needs. Should we give formula?" Before her husband could answer, the nurse came into the room. She saw Sarah's worried face and sat beside her. With a kind smile she said, "Sarah, don't worry. What you are feeling is very normal. Every mother has milk for her baby. In the beginning, it comes as something special called colostrum. It may look like only a few drops, but those drops are like liquid gold. They are full of nutrition and antibodies. Think of it as your baby's first vaccine." Sarah looked at the nurse with doubt but also hope. The nurse continued, "Let me show you how to help him latch." She carefully guided Sarah. She placed baby Ian skin to skin on Sarah's chest and showed her how to hold him tummy to tummy. She explained, "Make sure his mouth covers not just the nipple but the darker area around it, called the areola." Sarah followed step by step. At first she was nervous, but then Ian opened his tiny mouth, latched on, and began to suck gently. Sarah felt a slight tug, and for the first time she realized, her body was feeding her baby. Tears rolled down her cheeks, not from pain, but from relief and love. The nurse patted her shoulder and said softly, "See? You can do it." The following days were not easy. Sometimes Sarah felt soreness, sometimes she worried about whether Ian was getting enough. One morning she asked the nurse, "Why does he want to feed again and again? Maybe I still don't have enough milk." The nurse explained patiently, "Newborns feed 8 to 12 times in 24 hours. The more he feeds, the more milk your body will produce. His crying doesn't always mean hunger. Sometimes he just needs your comfort and warmth. Trust your body. Trust your baby." These words gave Sarah courage. Slowly, she began to learn the rhythm of breastfeeding. She discovered that her milk changed with time, sometimes light and watery to quench his thirst, sometimes thick and creamy to help him grow. The human body, she realized, was more amazing than she had ever thought. When Sarah returned home with Ian, new challenges awaited her. Some of her relatives advised, "Give the baby honey, it's good for him," or "Give some water in this hot weather." Sarah became confused again. She remembered what the nurse had said but didn't want to disrespect her elders. Finally, she decided to consult her doctor. The doctor reassured her, "For the first 6 months, breast milk is all your baby needs. It has the perfect balance of water, nutrition, and protection. Giving anything else, honey, water, or formula, can actually be harmful. Trust yourself." Armed with this knowledge, Sarah politely explained it to her family. At first, they were unsure, but when they saw Ian gaining weight, growing active, and rarely falling ill, they began to support her decision. Sarah felt stronger inside. She was no longer just feeding her baby, she was protecting him, guiding him, and standing up for his health. Weeks turned into months. The long nights, the countless feeds, the moments of exhaustion, Sarah faced them all. Yet in every struggle, she also found joy. She realized that breastfeeding was more than food. It was warmth when Ian cried, comfort when he was restless, and security when he felt small in a big world. She noticed how he would stop crying the moment she held him close to her chest. She began to cherish these quiet hours when it was just her and her baby, connected in a way no one else could understand. By the time Ian was 6 months old, he was a strong, healthy, and happy child. He was curious, playful, and full of life. One evening, as she watched Ian sleep peacefully, Sarah reflected on her journey. She thought about the moments she wanted to give up, the doubts planted by others, the sleepless nights, and the endless feeds. And then she thought about the smile on Ian's face, his growing strength, and the bond they shared. She whispered to herself, breastfeeding is not always easy, but it is worth every effort. With patience, support, and love, it is possible. From that day on, Sarah decided to share her story with other mothers. She knew many women felt the same fears she once had. By telling her journey, she hoped they would feel less alone and more confident. She wanted every mother to know that she had the strength inside her to nourish her baby, and that every drop of milk was a gift of love.